Woodbury. What a great place to live.
Yeah.
And do you guys know who makes that possible?
Officer Merinuk.
Who's Officer Merinuk? He's the chief of police in Woodbury.
He's in charge of all the police actions.
Yeah, he actually has a daughter in 5th grade in my class.
I
wonder how long he's been in Woodbury and how long he's been a police officer.
I wonder if he could help us like that.
I wonder if Officer Merinuk could teach us some stuff. That'd be really good advice, really good information.
He must have had to work really hard. Well, let's bring him in.
How many years have you been Woodbury's police chief?
I have been the police chief here for 15 years. I've been a member of the police department for 27 years.
As a child, who was your biggest motivation?
I think my dad was my biggest motivator. My dad inspired me to stay in the field like he did. So watching him grow up, watching him get to meet everybody in Woodbury and help people in Woodbury and be involved with the town, I think that inspired me to follow in his footsteps.
Was there anyone in your life who believed in you?
I've had a ton of people in my life. I've been very fortunate that my family has believed in me since I was a kid all the way up until now. So it's been really important for me that my family has believed in me all the way through and has motivated me to be the best that I could be.
I have to ask you a question.
Okay.
Is there anyone in particular who is on your mind while you are at work doing your job?
Not one particular person. As I'm doing my job, I serve the community, so my decisions are always based on what we're doing in the community to make the community better, to make the community safer. So I always have when I'm making the decision, I always have a bunch of people in the back of my mind. But one thing that's very important to me is my family. So as I'm trying to accomplish my goal is always to make them proud of me.
Hello, Officer Merinuk.
Hello.
In what ways have you changed from a kid to an adult?
That's a good question. As an adult, you have to take things a lot more serious. I think when I was a kid, I didn't see the priority in everything that I was doing. Now as an adult, you have to make sure that you're contemplating all your decisions. So I think I concentrate more on what my actions are to make sure that I'm doing the right thing.
Officer Merinuk, do you have any advice for the Woodbury youth?
I absolutely do. Some good advice for everyone is to make sure that you're always truthful to people, that you're an honest person, that you're working hard, and that you can do, or that you try to do the best that you can in everything that you are working towards.
Could you please describe the most surprising moment of your life?
I think one of the most surprising moments was when I was a captain in the police department, and I had only been a captain for probably a year and a half to 2 years. And the chief at that time came into my office and indicated to me that he was leaving, and that I was soon going to be the person in charge of 30 people in a police department. It was surprising that he was leaving because I had been in my position for such a short time, so when he came in, it was a little bit of a shock.
Describe the best day of your life.
The best day of my life. I have 3 best days of my life. I have a 16-year-old daughter. When she was born, that was an awesome day. I have an 11-year-old daughter who goes to school here. That was one of my favorite days. And the other day is when I got married. 3 best days of my life.
Was there ever a time where you felt like you lost your identity, and why?
I think there's been some times where I may have been around maybe losing my identity, but I think that my family plays a big role in what I do, and they always keep me grounded and make sure they kind of keep me focused, and I think that helps me keep my identity. Always falling back to my family for advice and making sure that I stay on the right path.
What inspired you to become a cop?
Probably I'd have to say my dad. When I was growing up in Woodbury, my dad was a police officer in this town, and he's pretty much the motivation for this. Growing up watching him do his deal here in Woodbury and performing his duty was a motivation for me to get involved with the same career path. Awesome.
What steps did you have to take to get to the position you are now in?
Actually, there was a whole lot of steps. One of the first steps was making sure that I did well in school, like you guys. I went to Evergreen Avenue School. I graduated from Woodbury High School. After high school, I went into the military, where I served 2 years in the Army. And then after the Army, I started taking college classes. So I think everything that occurred in my life helped me in my steps to become a police officer.
Describe your most difficult challenge and how you overcame that.
The most difficult challenge, one of the hardest things that I've had to go through in my career is watching a person that I worked with in law enforcement actually die because of the job. It was really difficult. It was a hard call that we went to, and unfortunately the person passed away, one of my co-employees, and that was really hard for us. But as a community and as a police department, we came together and we helped each other out, and we moved forward.
Describe the worst day of your life.
The worst day of my life was probably like the previous question I had, where we lost a police officer in Woodbury. Yeah, I think that was probably the worst day. When you come to work, you expect all of your co-employees and your buddies to make it home without having any issues, and then when we had an officer that happened to die while on duty, that was probably the most difficult day of my life.
In what ways do you help out your community?
I help my community. My job almost makes me help my community because, like we were talking earlier, my job depends on the safety of the community and making sure that the laws are enforced in this community. We make sure that the police department is doing all those things, and all my decisions are based on making sure that we're helping the community.